day and welcome to the African News broadcast from Canada. My name is Sandra. Asante top stories. Ethiopia rejects plan UN human rights meeting. Ethiopian government offensive pushes forward scars of war. Ethiopia's Amhara region. And in Sudan, Sudanese hold fresh anti-coup protests. These are more stories coming up after the break. You're welcome back from the break to very first story in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has rejected a plan by the UN's top human rights body to hold a special session to Friday to discuss the human rights situation in the country. Ethiopia's foreign ministry said that it was perplexed and saddened by the UN Human Rights Council's decision to host the session at the request of the European Union. The Ethiopian government called on member states of the UN rights body to reject and vote against the special sessions. What should have been a priority for the Council instead was the urgent task of carrying out an investigation into the violations of human rights and atrocities committed by the TPLF, Tigray People's Liberation Front in Afar and Amhara regional states, the government said in a statement. The UN Rights Council said the sessions will discuss the grave human rights situation in Ethiopia. Ethiopia announced at the end of November that it has set up a task force to deal with human rights violations during the conflict in the north of the country between its military and the TPLF forces. It says that it was in line with the recommendations of a joint report by the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission and the UN Human Rights Office. Still in Ethiopia, Ethiopia soldiers said the tank's crew has been fighting for Tigray, the northern region battling the central government. The government offensive has driven Tigrayan forces back on multiple fronts. Locals are returning to homes scared not just by intensive fighting, but what they say are atrocities committed by government and its allies. Government soldiers and Amhara special forces describe an ongoing battle to remove small pockets of Tigrayan forces. There is hand-to-hand conflict about 6 kilometers away, said an Amhara militiaman in the town. But you are safe here is just small groups. As he spoke, an emplacement of mobile field guns in the greenery close by fired off repeated volleys. The TPLF said that Tigrayan forces entered Amhara to break the de facto government blockade on Tigray and free Western Tigray, a contested area from Amhara control. The government has denied United Nations accusations it was blocking food aid to the famine-hit region. Daniel Bekele, head of Ethiopian Human Rights Commission, said reports by villagers of abuses in Amhara, including killings, rapes and destruction of properties, were widespread and credible. A joint investigation released last month by the United Nations and Bekele's commission concluded that the government and its allies have committed violations that may amount to war crimes. The new offensive against Tigrayan forces came after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed went to lead military operations himself, addressing citizens wearing a combat uniform and surrounded by soldiers. Away from Ethiopia, we move to Sudan, and Sudanese demonstrators massively took to the street in the capital, Khartoum, and at least 10 other cities across the country on Monday to express their rejection of the military-led transition in the country. At the opposed 2018-2019 protest, the anti-coup campaign is led and managed by the Youth Control Resistance Committees, which refuse any compromise with the military component and its allied groups. The protests are held under the slogan, "No negotiation, no partnership, no legitimacy," for the participation of the coup leaders in a transition as they are accused of seeking to hold a tight grip on power. The protests of December 13th in the Khartoum state were more organized as demonstrators in Khartoum headed to the residential palace, while the protesters in Khartoum North crossed the Nile River to march to Omdurman. The police forces used tear gas and batons to disperse the peaceful rally heading to the presidential palace. The Central Committee of Sudan Doctors, CCSD, said 55 people were wounded or suffocated by tear gas, in addition to 3 others injured by batons. The security forces fear that the protesters will hold a sit-in if they reach the premises of the military-controlled Sovereign Council. The other protest in Khartoum State held a joint rally in Omdurman. Participants from Khartoum North, Eastern Nile and Hattusip towns gathered first in North Khartoum and then joined demonstrators in Omdurman, who gathered in an area not far from the bridge linking the two towns. During the peaceful rally in Omdurman, the participants launched balloons with the names of the revolution martyrs. However, the security forces dispersed the protesters using tear gas and batons. The independent medical group reported that 6 people were wounded, including 3 suffocated and 1 injured by baton. To a final story in Sudan, the World Health Organization WHO says it is investigating deaths of nearly 100 people who succumbed to a yet-to-be identified disease in Fangak, Jonglei State and South Sudan. Last week, the Ministry of Health reported that an unknown disease had killed dozens of people in the area, which is one of the worst hit by recent flooding. A local health official said the initial samples collected in the area returned negative test results for cholera. We decided to send a rapid response team to go and do risk assessment and investigations. That is when they will be able to collect samples from the sick people. But provisionally, the figures that we got was there were 89 deaths. WHO's Sheila Bayer told the BBC. She said Fangak area was not reachable by land due to flooding, and the teams were waiting for a helicopter to return them to the capital, Juba, on Wednesday. This is why I draw the curtains on African News. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sandra Asante. You should have a blessed day.